Do you see my face? Okay. I'm a little shorter. Raise your hand if you've ever heard the phrase, "I literally want to kill myself right now." I want to see hands. All right. Raise your hand if you've said this phrase yourself. You can be honest. Now raise your hand if you know someone who has a mental illness diagnosis, or if you yourself have a mental illness diagnosis. I don't know about you, but I find it kind of funny how people lightly drop expressions like that, as well as, he or she is so bipolar, I'm literally so depressed right now, I'm like kind of OCD, or I legit have PTSD from the other night, which, what does that even mean? It is beyond me, but when it comes to actually having a conversation about it, we find those around us looking the other way. I had a regular upbringing. I'm one of 3 siblings. I have my parents. I consider myself an outgoing and bubbly gal, friendly towards everyone, athletic, and decent in school. I'm passing. I'm good, it's fine. However, something changed my junior year of high school. The lack of motivation, fatigue, sadness, weight gain, and I did not like or respect myself. These feelings were inconsistent, they often fluctuated, and those depressive episodes occurred spontaneously. This pattern continued for a year and a half. On October 23rd, 2016, I attempted suicide in my college freshman dorm. I was transported to the ER and to an inpatient psychiatric facility. Since I was 19 at the time, I was placed in the adult unit. Has anyone ever seen movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Girl Interrupted, or shows like American Horror Stories? Yes, lovely. These are just a couple of examples that come to mind that depict psychiatric facilities. And during the intake process, all that was running through my mind was what it was like on the inside. I'm a dramatic person, obviously. So I was 100% overthinking the whole thing and what it was going to be like, and obviously that wasn't the case at all. My first morning there, I was woken up at 7 a.m. to get my blood drawn. They brought breakfast, lunch, and dinner out in brown trays, and you had to ask for utensils. I felt isolated. There were no door handles. They took the string out of my sweatpants as a safety precaution. All of the showers were timed, 30 minutes exactly, and I had to ask for my shampoo and conditioner because one of the containing ingredients was alcohol. No cell phones, no TV, although there were phones provided, but only during the phone hours. So I had all of my close friends and family's members' phone numbers written down on a little flashcard. And I will never forget that there was this one patient that walked up and down the same hallway every day, expressionless, not undermining his recovery. It's just something that stuck with me. I sat in a room with the facility psychiatrist, and she said to me, "I've determined your diagnosis as major depressive disorder, general anxiety disorder, and binge eating disorder." And I'm sitting there like, damn lady, all right, you won't add anything else? To be honest, for some twisted reason, I was incredibly relieved. But why? Validation. A year and a half of suffering, of crying out of nowhere with no explanation, of stress sweating spontaneously, of self-doubt and pure self-loathing finally had a name. Apparently more than one, but just because I finally had an answer didn't mean it was smooth sailing from here on out. I was unrecognizable. I sat on the couch and just stared at the wall for hours. Sometimes I'd cry while sitting there, but other times I felt no emotion whatsoever. The way I describe it is a feeling of numbness. It's hard to describe, but have you ever just felt nothing? Absolutely nothing. My mind felt empty. I was so incredibly exhausted, ashamed, and depressed that there was nothing passing through my mind. I either cried or sat there expressionless. My mind was blank, and I had no thoughts running through. Lights on, nobody was home. I have always been aware that there are millions who suffer from mental illness, especially depression. My therapist told me that there's usually always a dual diagnosis with depression. Kind of reminded me of when I go shopping, get one diagnosis of depression, get another one for free. Following my attempt, I stayed home for the rest of the year to focus on my recovery. I went from sitting on the couch and staring blankly at the wall to creating a marathon program, running the 2017 Boston Marathon, and raising almost $24,000 to McLean Hospital. Thank you. Oh, my dad ran the marathon with me. He's somewhere in here, but... I'm not saying that my family didn't notice. I'm very close with my mom, sometimes closer than I'd like. Just kidding, because she's here too. But we always had some sort of explanation during my depressive episodes. For example, junior year in high school is very stressful because it's you need those grades those grades will be used for when you apply to college. You're starting your senior year and you're realizing that you're about to embark on a new chapter in life and on your own. And transitioning into college is a different experience for everyone. It was almost like we were trying to decode why I was feeling a certain way. My mom, funny enough, is a mental health counselor. She got her master's degree in psychology in 2015 at Lesley University, and I don't say it enough, but I'm so proud of her. She is a boss-ass woman. Te quiero, mami. My dad, on the other hand, has always been a very logical black and white person. If there's a problem, there's an explanation, there is a solution. He didn't quite understand mental illness all too well. Obviously, that isn't the case now. My dad, Papi, always likes having all of the information, so trust me when I say he has done an incredible amount of extensive research on mental health up till now. Basically a nerd. Papi, I can't thank you enough for the amount of support you have given me, and there have been many times when we're driving up to UNH, and if I'm too quiet, he'll ask me, "Estás bien, Anita? Are you okay?" And obviously I'm just being an angsty teen and just want some peace and quiet before I go back to school. But Papi, I want you to know that I never forget any of those times you've asked me, because I know that he's been learning ever since my attempt to notice or catch me if I seem off. My mom too. It isn't all rainbows and unicorns, because for those of us who know, mental illness is a part of us. A physical, chemical imbalance of the brain that slowly but surely changes us a bit. I find myself on my bad days feeling like a fake person, that the only way I can function normally is based off a bottle of pills, but that is not true, and I know that. Medication is 25% of the recovery, the other 75% is from individual hard work. 2 years, 24 days today, I am standing here in front of you able to say that my diagnosis does not define me, and I won't let it define me. Never in a million years would I've ever thought that I would be featured in an article in 17 magazine for suicide awareness, or for that matter, be standing here tonight sharing my story for This Is My Brave show. I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger, something to advocate for, and something to fight for. I have self-respect for myself now. I work every day to love every part of me, the good and the bad. I know now my life matters, my story matters, my voice matters, and my hope is every time I share my story, I can give a voice to those who are suffering in silence. Thank you.